We'll start with the Mangalam. Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedhase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. We looked at some of the, we're still in the introductory part of the text, because this is an area which is not very commonly dealt with by a lot of alankarikas, and of course in the, you won't find this much in the syllabus of MA or BA or anything. So it's good to know some background about this. So we looked at the poet, and a little brief introduction into the Kavyam, Raghavayadaveeyam. What is a Kavyam? That is Shabdas and words and meaning. Shabdartho Kavyam. Stringing of words, padavali, stringing of words in and expressing it in the expressing a meaning that we want to express. Vivaksha yatra padanam avalim upayujya vidhiyate tattu kavyam ityuchyate. So Shabda and Artha are the main components of a Kavyam. You have to beautify those parts, and for that, beautifying the Shabdas, you need Alankaras, and Shabdalankaras are the first step for beautifying it. So Kavyasya Shobhakaraha, the dharmaha, the qualities that bring about beauty to the kavyam is called Shabdalankara. Of course, the beauty to the artha is much more deeper, much more subtler, and it is more appreciated by the Kanasya, Sahridayas. We call them those people who appreciate kavya, those who are the rasikas. They don't want to look at the Shabdalankaras actually. So that is why there was a question also about why this is classified as an Adhama Kavya. Yes, it is. In a way, it is classified as an Adhama Kavya, but it also gives the skill of the poet. It shows us how much of how many intelligent people there were in Bharatiya culture. So this is also an aspect that we need to understand and study. Right. So Shabdalankaras to Navavidhaha. So there are 9 types of Shabdalankaras as mentioned in Agni Purana. In that we looked at Chitrakavyam, Anuprasa, etc. Chaya, Mudra, Ukti, Yukti, Gumphana, Vakovakyam, Anuprasa, Chitram, and Dushkaram. Now this last final type of Shabdalankara is where our Anuloma Pratilomakavya of Raghavayadaveeyam comes under that. We looked at Dushkaram Kavyam. The lakshanam for Dushkaram is Dukkhena Kritam. Atyartham Dukkhena Kritam. So it has been created with a great difficulty. Kavi Samarthya Suchakam, as I told you, it indicates us that the poet is very capable of creating such poetry. And then Nirasatve Api, this is very important because even though there is no rasam in it, still people who want to give some activity to their brain, they love such kavyam. Vidagdhanam Mahotsavam. It's like a festival for people who are intelligent. So there are 3 types of Dushkaram: Niyamat, Vidarbhat, Bandhat. Niyamat Dushkaram, we saw a couple of examples for that, wherein there is Thana Chitram and Ekaksharam, or people will Swara Niyamaha, Vyanjana Niyamaha, Ityadi. The people, somebody would either it is a promise to himself, it is like a vratam that the poet himself has taken, where he will only use these Vyanjana letters at this point. If you get any chance to see these Ashtavadhana in Sanskritam, maybe even in any language, it should be fine. These Avadhanis, it is very useful for the Avadhana people, those who do the Avadhanas, because there one person would give a letter like this, Prathama Pade Chaturtha Varnaha tu Tatra Kakaraha Bhavitavyaha, Tadanantaram Dvitiya Pade Dvitiya Aksharam tu Chakaraha, and they will also give you that Vrittam Ityadi Niyamat Dushkaram Kavya. So you have to think about that letter, you have to think about the theme, and the vrittam also, and get all of those together as you compose a shloka. So this is Niyama Dushkaram. We also looked at Bandha Dushkaram, where the shlokas can be put in the form of a intricate design, and the letters also form a part of those intricate designs. These are common in many languages. Now we have to go to the second variety, which is the Vidarbha Dushkaram. I kept it to the last because this is our Pratilomakavya. Okay, the Lakshanam here is Vidarbham Pratilomya Anulomyat Eva Abhidhiyate Pratilomya Anulomyacha Shabdena Arthena Jayate. So Vidarbha Dushkaram is a type of kavyam which is which shows how the shlokas can be read in both ways. Pratilomyat anulomyadeva abhidiyate. You can, a shloka is said to be Vidarbha Dushkaram if it can be read both ways. So, or palindromic. But even there, see how precise, how our people have given you the definitions of all these things. He says, Pratulomyat, Anulomyat can be either Shabdena or Arthena. It can be in two types. So we think just palindromic poem is not just one type of palindromic poem, like Raghavayadaveeyam. There can be two types. Now, what is this Shabdena? Shabdena is where Pratilomyena aparam kavyam nasti. There is no new kavyam that is produced when you read it Pratilomyena. So the same, whatever you have written in the anuloma, in the direct, in the direction, straight direction, or in the direct way, the same will be read in the reverse also. And there is no difference in meaning at all. It is only a Shabda Pratiloma. Only the letters are being reversed. The example that we, in English, a simple example that we know is a level, level, you put it reverse, it is the same level, right? A rotor or motor, not motor, sorry. Malayalam, that's the common example that everybody gives. So the language Malayalam will read the same as Malayalam in both ways. So this is Shabdena Pratilomyam Abhi. Now, Arthena Aparam Kavyam Jayate. Now, when you reverse it, it is only Pratilomyam, that is the Artha can be different. You write it in the same manner, and then when you read it in the different manner, then there is a different kavyam that comes about. That is, the meaning is different in the reverse direction. So this is Arthena Pratilomyam. Now, Dandi, in his Kavya Darsha, so this what we have seen, the definition that we have seen till now is actually from Agni Purana. Okay, but there is another Alankarika who was also an ancient Alankarika, Dandi. He has written an Alankara Shastra in Tamil also. Dandi Alankaram is there in Tamil also. He has written a work called Kavya Darsha, where he does not take it as Dushkaram Kavyam, he takes it as a building block from Yamakam. Yamakam, we saw, is just a simple arrangement of 3-4 letters, Vyanjana Samudaya, including Vyanjana Swara Samudaya, which is repeated, Avrittihi. So when the same set of letters, for example, Apagam, Apagamiva, iti Drishtamasmabihi, if you take Mahishasura Mardini Stotram, Sumanas, Sumanas, Sumanohara Kantiyute, iti. There, the letters of Sumana, the 3 letters are repeated continuously. There is an avritti of a set of Vyanjana and Swara. That is Yamakam. Now, Dandin takes this Yamaka as your building block for Pratilomakavya or Chitrakavya. Okay, so that building block can be in 3 different ways. So Pratilomyena, now this Yamakam is your building block. Now he then further embellishes it and says, no, there is a variety called Pratiloma Yamakam. Pratiloma Yamakam is such that you have a set of Vyanjana and Swaras, the set of vowels and consonants coming together and the same set can be reversed also. Our simple word you can take, or it can extend up to an ardhapada, or it can extend up to a shloka. So he divides it into 3 in this manner. And so our Aniloma Pratilomakavya comes under this category with respect to Dandi. That's why many people call this as a Chitrakavya. They don't call it as a Pratilomakavya. But Venkatadhwari names his own Kavyam as a Dushkaram Kavya. Okay, so now the Lakshanam for Pratilomayamakam is Avrittihi Pratilomyena Pada Ardha Shloka Gochara. So it can be a Pada Gochara or an Ardha Pada Gochara. Pada Gochara, Ardha Gochara is Ardha Shloka Gochara. Shloka Gochara would mean the whole shloka is repeated. So Yamakam Pratilomatvat Pratilomam iti smritam. So this type of a Yamakam can extend in one pada. He actually gives some examples. We won't look into the meaning of these shlokas, but let's look at what is Pada Gocharam. Padasya Pratiloma Avritya Padantarasya Puranam. So shloka is made up of 4 padas, 4 sections make up a shloka. It can have as little as 2 aksharas or 4 aksharas in one pada. Many of you might have attended the Vrittaratnakara course and you may have read this there. So Anushtub is the smallest variety that we think is there. If you look at a text called Uma Sahasram, written by Vasishta Ganapati Muni, he has used smaller vrittams, even smaller than 8 aksharas. He uses 4 aksharas for one pada. Very small, cute shlokas that we have. So, padasya pratiloma avritya. Now, this is one padam. Yamatasha krita ayasa. This is one padam here. Ya amatasha krita ayasa. This is one section. Now, the same thing you will reverse. Sayata, you take one by one here and then you reverse. So, this sa, ya, ta, kr, sha, ta, ma, ya. You don't separate the swaras and vyanjanas here. You will take the swara vyanjana complex as one unit and then put it in the reverse. So the reverse here is sayata krishata maya. The next padam also follows the same method. Ramana rakata testu. Stute, the avarga, all these are not considered when you reverse it. Okay, you only take one complex of vyanjana, and even if it is a samyuktakshara, you take that samyuktakshara along with the swaram as one unit. So stu becomes one unit. So stuteta karanamara. This is one shloka where padam is repeated. Then the next variety is ardha gochara. Shlokasya ardhasya pratiloma avritya aparardhasya puranam. Most of these are found in Shishupalavadha, Naishadham, Paduka Sahasram or Yadavabhyudayam. There are many poets who have employed this in one section of their kavyam. So this entire ardham is going to be reversed in the second one. So nadino madana dhiswa namekachana kamita. Now the whole thing is going to be reversed. Tamika nacha kame. Tatha. So tamika nacha kamena swadhina damanodina. This is another shloka. So the first half is just completely reversed. So it is called ardha yamakam or ardha gocharam yamakam, pratiloma yamakam. The last variety where our Pratilomakavya is going to come in, this is Shlokasya Pratiloma Avritya Shlokantarasya Puranam. So one entire shloka is being reversed and a totally different meaning comes about. Even Madhvacharya has created one shloka in his Mahabharata Tatparyam. The Anuloma shloka here is very simple. The meaning would be so simple that what is the big thing in this? But the reverse is so difficult to understand. You know, Rama Rama, Mahabaho, Mayate, Sudurasada. Sudurasada, it is very difficult to understand your Maya. Hey Rama, Mahabaho. Or Rama, he even splits that Rama further. Hey Rama, iti. Vada, Sadada, Ko Loke, Padav Eva Tava Asajet. We will spend more time on Raghavayadaveeyam to decipher. just to understand how the shloka goes. Now, jet, you see that asaje tava, asajet is the last word. Now, this entire complex will become the first word here. So, the Viloma shloka will be jet. Savatava Vedapake Lokadada Sadava Dasaradu Sate Dasaradu Suteyama Hovaha Mama Rama Ra. Tongue twister only, because we are not familiar with the words. It will be difficult to repeat the shlokas that way very fast. Anyway, so we'll move on to the Chitrakavyam. Now we know we have a background about what this Pratilomakavya is. Now, who have all written it and how it has come about in history. So there have been many such types of Kavya. Raghavayadaveeyam is not the first of its type. And it is not the most complex of its type also. It is actually a simpler kavyam. That's why I chose it also to teach, because it is quite simple when compared to other things that have been said before, have been composed before. Actually, it is a famous kavyam is called, which is Luptam. Luckily for us, it is Luptam. Sapta Sandhana Kavyam iti. There are 7 topics that Hemachandra takes up. And he has made shlokas which can be interpreted in 7 ways. So this Sandhana Kavyam is not the same as Pratilomakavya. It depends on Slesha and Yamakam, or Bhanga Slesha and Abhanga Slesha, to do these type of shlokas. So you have only one shloka which is read in only one direction, but it gives rise to 7 different meanings. So it is called Sapta Sandhana Kavyam. And this was written by Hemachandra, who was also a famous grammarian in the 11th century. There is another Sapta Sandhana Kavyam. This is Jaina Acharya has written this, Megha Vijaya Gani iti. This is a much more recent work in the 18th century, so 1700s. The 5 Jinacharyas have been mentioned there. Their Charitram has been described in this work, and along with Rama and Krishna. There is a Panchasandhana Kavyam, which is still in the form of a manuscript, which was written by Shantiraja. It has not been published as yet. Then you have Trisandhana Kavyam, which has been written by Chidambara Kavi in South. And this was in the 1500s. So somewhere between the 16th century and the 17th century. So this is even sort of in the same time frame, or at least a little earlier than Venkatadhwari. But it is a Trisandhana Kavyam, Raghava, Pandava and Yadaviyam. So Raghava, as we know, is Ramayanam. Pandava is Mahabharata, and Yadava, it takes the story from Bhagavatam. It is available as a manuscript as such. I'm not sure if someone has published this work, but it is a Trisandhana Kavyam. This also, again, there is no Anuloma Pratiloma in these types of Panchasandhana, Trisandhana, Ityadi. One special mention here is one sarga in Naishadhiyam, especially the 13th sarga in Sriharsha's Naishadhiyam. The 13th sarga is Swayamvara, Damayanti Swayamvara, where 4 of the devas, Indra, Yama, Vayu and Agni, these 4 people come down and ask Nala to go as a messenger, and they ask Damayanti to choose one of the devas, right? But then she says, let all of them come to the Swayamvaram and I will choose, because the Swayamvara has been announced, right? So all the 4 of the devas take the form of Nala, and 5 Nalas are standing there. So it is called Panchanali. And each of those shlokas in the 13th sarga gives rise to 5 different meanings. One is Indra, one gives a meaning of Agni, one for Nala himself, and Vayu and Yama. So Tatha, the 13th sarga needs a special mention because it is like a Panchasandhana Kavya. Right? He has written some 50 shlokas there. So it is even more than what Venkatadhwari has written. It's an earlier text also. But again, it is not a Pratiloma Anuloma Kavya. Now, Dvisandhana Kavyams are more like a Anuloma Pratiloma Kavya. Only if you have 2 themes. Because Anuloma should read one theme and Pratiloma should read another theme. Okay, so Dvisandhana Kavyam or Chitrakavya, Dushkaram or Pratilomayamakam, you can name it any way you want. The 11th century, you had Neminatha Charitam, which is written by Suracharya. There he talks about two of the Tirthankaras. One is Rishabhanatha and the other is Neminatha. These two Jinacharya's Charitam has been bound in this Anuloma Pratiloma manner. And it is called Neminatha Charitam. This was written in 11th century. As I told you, Venkatadhari is not a new entrant to this type of a Kavyam. In the 9th and 12th century, you have Dhananjaya, who has written a huge Mahakavyam in this manner. It is a Raghavayadaveeyam iti. One is Ramayanam, the other is Mahabharatam. There are some accounts of how there is only one sarga which is Dvisandhanam or Anuloma Pratilomam. The others are all Slesha Kavyam. So it is not Anuloma Pratiloma, but many sargas in this or many shlokas in this are only Slesha. That is, they only read Anuloma and they give rise to two meanings. That's all. Raghavayadaveeyam. There are only two sargas in this. It is a Shlesha Kavyam written by Haradatta Suri. This is available. It has been published. You can find the PDF on archive.org also. Raghavayadaveeyam. So it gives rise to two meanings and it is only in Anuloma method. It is not in Pratiloma Anuloma iti nasti. So Ramacharitam and Nalacharitam are described in this kind of text. There is another text called Parvati Rukminiyam also, which is another type of Chitrakavya. So those are all Dvisandhana Kavyam. In that, only some of those are Viloma Kavyam. Mostly it is a Slesha Pradhana Kavyam. Now, Viloma Kavyas, you have Ramakrishna Viloma Kavyam, which is also a published work. You can get it. It is written by Daivagnya Surya Pandita. This was written in 16th century. Chidambara Kavi, who wrote that Trisandhana Kavyam, he has written another work. Probably he was an expert in this Slesha and Yamaka and Viloma Pratilomam. So he has written two Kavyams. People have spent only time to write one Kavya. But this Chidambara Kavi seems to have written two Kavyams here. So Shabdartha Chintamani iti anyat Kavyam Likitam Tena, which is a Viloma Kavyam. Now, Raghavayadaveeyam or Yadava-Raghavayam, people also call it this way. This has been written by Venkatadhari in 17th century. Another work is Ramalila Amritam. This is a later work in the 19th century. So Nala Harishchandriyam, we don't know the time for this. So we will move on to Raghavayadaveeyam now. How the shlokas are arranged. Now we know that there are 30 shlokas in this. Of course, we have to do twice the number of the shlokas because we have to do the Anuloma and the Pratiloma format of the shloka. So there will be totally 60 shlokas in this. The Upajivyam or the source for the shlokas that he has taken is from both Ramayanam and Harivamsha Purana. In the Harivamsha Purana specifically, the author has taken the episode of Parijata Apaharanam, where Rukmini worships with the Parijata flowers. Satyabhama and Krishna is very happy to see Rukmini using Parijata flowers because she is a puja pradhana and she gives a lot of importance to puja, right? So on seeing that, Krishna is very happy with Rukmini. Immediately Satyabhama becomes very angry and then she wants the entire tree. So Krishna goes to Swargam and gets the Parijata tree. So this is the story that he takes up. And for Raghava, he takes up Ramasya Charitam. So the Neta, as we know, is Raghava, Rama. Raghava, I think I said in the beginning itself, Raghava can be any of the kings who came after Raghu, can be Raghava. But here specifically, we are looking at Ramasya Charitam, who is also a Raghava. Yadava here is Krishna. Again, Yadavas can be so many people. If you look at I think the 11th Skandam or somewhere, the destruction of the Yadavas is described in Bhagavatam. So there are so many different kulam, the different branches of Yadavas. But if we say Yadava, it only indicates the supreme Yadava who is Krishna, right? So and the poet has also given us his own Vyakhya so that we don't read unnecessarily, we don't put words and split it in different ways. So it makes it easier, right? Now we'll go into the first shloka, which is Vandeham tam Shritam Rantaram Vandeham Devam tam Shritam Rantaram Kalam Bhasayah Ramo Ramadhirapyago Leelamara Yodhe Vase. The reverse, this is the Anuloma shloka. The reverse shloka is Seva Dhyeyo Rama Lali Gopyaradhi Mara Moraha Yassabhalankaran Taram Tam Shritam Vandeham Devam. So this is the reverse method. So how does this work? What is happening here? The shloka in Anuloma format has 4 padas. You split it into 4 padas. The last padam becomes the first padam here. So Leela Mara, Leelam Ara Ayodhye Vase. When we split, we will see the meaning later. First, we will see the construction of the shloka. For only the first shloka, we will be seeing this sort of a construction. And then from then on, you all know how it is arranged. We will go into the meaning of the shlokas. Okay. So now this entire thing is going to be reversed. So Seva, Dhyeyo, Rama, Lali. As I told you, you take one unit after the other. You do not consider swaras as a separate unit. Vyanjana is not a separate unit. Consonant and vowels should not be split at all. You take one unit including the consonant. If there is a samyuktakshara, the samyuktakshara along with the vowel following it will be treated as one unit. So when you say ayodhye, dhye becomes dhyeyo, yodhye, dhyeyo iti bhavati. So you take that samyuktakshara along with the swara as one unit. So now the third padam becomes the second padam in reverse. Ramo Ramadhi Rapyago Gopyaradhi Mara Moraha. Visargas are not counted here. I can bring in Visarga as I need. It can also be removed. Those are not counted as part of this. Okay. You'll see these are some of the rules that they probably have used to to make it a little bit more flexible. Rantaram kalam bhasa yaha. So yaha sa, that will again you can make a visarga into a sakara there. So yassabhalankaram taram. So it reverses. Now the first padam becomes the last padam in the Anuloma shloka. Vandeham Devam Tam Shritam. Vandeham Illiye Mari irke. Vandeham Dev. Ama. Correct da. Tam Shritam. Yeah. Tam Shritam Vandeham Devam. It's correct. Okay. Now this is the Anuloma shloka. This is your Viloma shloka. So when we read it in the shloka format, it's a little easier for us. So this is a meter called Vidyunmala. It has a nice rhythm to it. Vandeham tam de Vandeham devantam Shritam Rantaram. In the Padravala, if you know music and all, you can set it to a nice tune and sing this also. For children, the rhymes, the way they sing rhymes, tatha bhavitum arhati. Vande hantam devantam shritam rantarankalam bhasayah. It will be more attractive for children. Apdiye you can make them memorize this entire 30 shlokas in this tune. So it's a very nice meter. Vandeham devam tam shritam Rantaram kalam bhasa yaha Ramo Rama dhira pyago Leelamara yodhye vase. The Pratiloma shloka is Seva dhyeyo Rama lali Gopyaradhi Mara moraha Yassabhalankaran taram Tam Shritam Vandeham Devam. Now let's look at the Padacheda for the first Anuloma. So the format that we will be going with is We'll take the Anuloma Padyam first. We'll do the Padacheda, Anvaya, and try to look at the meaning of the first Anuloma Shloka. Then we will go take up the Pratiloma Shloka, do the Padachedam and Anvaya for this. Then we will look at the meaning of that Shloka, look at some of the specialities in these two Shlokas, and then move on to the next Shloka. So now that the introduction is over, the Shloka part will go very fast as long as we are able to do some Padacheda, because it is very difficult to do the Padacheda and the words are also not familiar. I will do it so that it's easier. Interaction will be less in this part. So Anuloma Padyasya Padachedam Pashyamaha Atra Vande Aham. So the here, this avarga or the avagraha is there, that will not be considered when you do the reverse section. These and maybe even the visargas. Okay, the visargas can become another format, or you can introduce a visarga in the middle. Like for example, here Ramo, there in our Pratiloma Shloka, he introduces the Anuswara there, Moraha iti. Right? So it depends upon the poet and the flexibility that the poet has. So Vande Aham Devam Tam Shritam Rantaram Kalam Bhasa Yaha. Some words are very simple here. Ramaha Ramadhihi. If there is a hyphen here, then it is one single word within which you have two components. So it is a samasta padam which have to be taken together. I'm assuming that a lot of people know samasas. If they don't know, then you should understand that the hyphen indicates that it is a samasta padam. It is a compound word, and those two are the components of that word. So Ramadhihi, Apya Agaha, Leelam Ara Ayodhye Vase. In this Anuloma Shloka, there are actually two sentences. The second ardham, the Shloka ardha, the second half of the Shloka is the first sentence, and the first half of the Shloka is the second sentence. Because Vande is the Vandanam is the subject matter of the first Shloka. Right? So Ramadhihi Apyagaha Ayodhye Vase Leelam Ara. Bhasa Kalam Rantaram Shritam Tam Devam Aham Vande. You can even put it the reverse way. You can start off with Bhasa Kalam Rantaram Shritam Tam Devam Aham Vande. Ramadhihi Apyagaha Ayodhye Vase Leelam Ara. But it makes more sense to put the adjectival features and what sort of a Rama and then come to Vande, because this is a Mangala Shlokam that the poet has written, and he pays his namaskara, he does his namaskaram to the kavi. Any kavyam will start off with a Mangala Shloka. So Ashir Namaskriya Vastu Nirdesho Vapi Tanmukham Ityasti. Tanmukham, Kavyasya Mukham. Mukham is Arambha, Mukham is the beginning. So a Kavya's beginning should always start off with a Mangalam. There are many poems which do not have a Mangalam. It doesn't matter. This Mangala, writing a Mangalam for a Kavyam is a big discussion in Nyaya Shastra. Whether you should write a Mangalam or not. What will happen if you write a Mangalam? What will happen if you don't write a Mangalam? So what are the examples that we see? Have all the poetry that have that start with a Mangalam have been completed? No, we see that certain kavyams have not been completed, even though there are some 25 Mangalams written. There are some kavyams which have seen which are end to end. That is, we read it for end to end. We have it available end to end, even though it doesn't start with a Mangalam. But one thing is, every akshara in Sanskritam is a bijaksharam. Ambal is called Matrika Varna Rupini. Sa iti Matrika Varna Rupini. Panchashat Pitha Rupini iti vastate khalu. So Panchashat Pitha Rupini, every there are 51 Pithas that are there for Shakti Pitham in this world. Each Shakti Pitham is actually a representative of the 51 letters in our Akshara base. For Bijaksharam, you even take Ksha as one mantram. You take Jna as a mantra, as a Bijakshara. So even if it is a Samyukta Aksharam, you take it as a like Hri, Hrim, Klim, Ityadi. So these are all Aksharas, you take it as one set, one unit. Like how we do this, no? So every letter is a Bijakshara. So whether you start with a Mangalam or not, you have done your Mangalam by writing it in using that Bijakshara, using words, Shabda Brahma, right? Okay. So the Anuloma Padyasya Anvayam Pashyamaha Ramadhihi Apyagaha Ayodhye Vase Leelam Ara Bhasa Kalam Rantaram Shritam Tam Shri Itam Shritam Tam Devam Aham Vande. Tam Devam Aham Vande. I pray to that God. Who is that God? Shritam Bhasa Kalam Rantaram Ramadhihi Yaha Ramadhihi Apyagaha Ayodhye Vase Leelam Ara Tam Devam Iti. So because there is no Yaha here, I should have probably included that also here. So you can have a Yaha in the brackets here. So Yaha Ramadhihi Apyagaha Ayodhye Vase Leelam Ara Tam Devam Aham Vande. Tam Bhasa Kalam Rantaram Shritam Devam Aham Vande. So the poet is saying, I bow to that Deva who is actually who Leelam Ara, who did a great Leela in the in Ayodhya. So we look at each of those words so that it is easier to understand. So Ramadhihi Yaha, one who had Sita in his mind. Rama is Sita. Rama actually is any Stri. Striyam Ramayam Dhihi Yasya Saha Ramadhihi. So Rama is a person whose mind was constantly in Sita, in a woman. When he was in the Vanavasa, he was continuously thinking about Sita himself, Sita, and he was talking to every tree and every animal that was there, every small rock or every creeper that was there. Have you seen Sita? Have you seen Sita? So Ramadhihi Tasya Buddhau Ramaha eva asit. Tathaiva Sita api asit. If you look at Sundarakandam, Naisha Pashyati Rakshasyo Na iman Pushpa Phaladruman Ekastha Hridayanunam Ramameva Anupashyati. She was also constantly seeing Rama, thinking about Rama. Anupashyati Chintayanti eva asit sa api. Tadha atra Ramadhihi. Rama was also in his mind. Only Sita was there because she was separated. She was not to be found. And he was roaming around in all the mountains. Apyagaha. Agaha. Agaha atra agaha parvataha. Apyaha parvataha yasya saha. For whom all the mountains were accessible. So he went from mountain to mountain and then reached Pampasaras. There also he kept searching for her. With Sita in his mind, Ramadhihi Saha, Ramaha. The stories are, Ramayana story is very popular. So we know the story here, what happened, right? So it's only the small details that we need. Apya agaha. Apya ityukte apyaha aptum yogyaha. Praptum yogyaha. Those mountains which were accessible, which was easy for Rama to obtain. So he went from mountain to mountain. That's all it means. Chankramanto Varan Deshan Shailat Shailam, Vanat Vanam. They kept moving from both those two. Chankramantau, Rama Lakshmanau iti. So Rama and Lakshmana kept moving from one place to another place, one forest to another forest, one mountain to another mountain. So Apyagaha, because they were searching for Sita. Then they went to Pampasaras. So Aptum, Apyaha, Agaha, Yasya Saha, for whom all the mountains were accessible. So he went moving from one mountain to another mountain with Sita in his mind. Ramadhihi, Apyagaha. After that, then after killing Ravana, he came back to Ayodhya and he was living happily. Ayodhye Vase, Ayodhye, Ayodhyayam Bhavaha. Ayodhya Bhavaha Tasmin Gehe. So Vasaha is in Pullingam. So we have to treat Ayodhya Vase as a Pullinga Padam. Ayodhyaha is also a Pullinga Padam as an adjective to Vasa. Vasa here is stay or Griham. Gehaha iti Pullinga Padam ape asti. Griham is an Apunsakalinga Padam. So Ayodhyam Griham or Ayodhyaha Vasaha. He stayed in Ayodhya. He stayed in a house in Ayodhya. Ayodhyayam bhavaha Ayodhyaha. So tasmin vase किम अकरोत् लीलाम आर लीलाम क्रीडाम आर अकरोत् और agachat iti leelam agachat na, it won't fit properly in our mind. That's why it is easier to translate this as akarot iti. So saha leelam prapa, leelam, he attained or he entertained himself in Ayodhya after he roamed around all the forests and mountains and everything, and then killed Ravana, got back Sita, and then he stayed in Ayodhya for a long time and he was happy. So Leelam akarot, Leelam chakara prapa iti. Ara here is the lit lakara for the dhatu r, richati ityasti r gatau. So ara, aratuhu, aruhu. So Leelam ara yodhye vase. Atra asti Leelam, you split it Leelam ara ayodhye vase. Realize how much of kosha we need to know. We need to know how to split the sandhi also to understand this. So yaha ramadhihi apyagaha ayodhye vase leelam ara. Who was he in reality? So bhasa kalam kantya yaha kalam neelam. Kalaha Neelaha Krishna Varnaha. So Bhasa Swakantya. So with his luster, he was dark in color because of his luster. So Bhasa Kalaha Saha Rantaram. He Kriditaram Ramate iti one who plays, one who entertains, right? So Kriditaram, one who plays, na, here he is Paramatma here. Paramatma decides one day, Sattapotapisa Kamayata Bahusyam Prajaye Yeti. You go to the Taittiriya Upanishad, you will find this sentence there. He thought to himself, he had this desire suddenly to become many. So Akamayata Bahusyam Prajaye Yeti. Let me create a lot more of people in this world. That is, let me manifest so many of these people. Sattapotapyata. So then he thought, and then he ensured that he created this world, and then tadeva anupravishate, he also entered into that world and became many. In other words, he is the antaryami in every one of us, according to Vishishtadvaita. Yeah, according to Advaita, if you take what it says, he is the only person who exists. It is like a rock from which a sculpture has manifested. Maybe even a town has manifested. Imagine Mahabalipuram near Chennai. It was only filled with rocks, and slowly people started sculpting around it, and it manifested. Is it different from the rock? It is the same. So Tatha Paramatma api Kridam Akarot. So in his using his Kanti here is actually, if you take it in a philosophical manner, Swayam Prakasha Swarupaha Saha. So with his own Maya Shakti, which is the one that manifests everything in this world, he uses Kalam as another Rupam. Kalam here can mean Samaya, time also. So Bhuta, Vartamana and Bhavishyat. Time is another format of Bhagavan, which creates the Kshobha. That is, it creates a disturbance in the Maya, and then the world is created for Bhagavan to play in this world. So this is the actual reality of Rama. So the supreme entity which has taken the Rama Avatara is a person who plays with this kalam, who constantly plays with this kalam. Kalam rantaram iti chet bahu chirakalam yavat tavat paryantam saha kridam karoti iti. Those who know a bit of grammar, you will know that there is this sutram kala adhanor atyanta samyoge iti. When you want to mention a time, saha masam adite iti chet, he reads for the entire month without even one gap. All days he reads. Masena adite. He reads he completes within 1 month and finishes the whole portions. We don't know whether he read all 30 days of that month or not. There is that distinction between Dvitiya and Tritiya, right? So, atra kalam rantaram iti chet, when Bhagavan creates this world and the living beings in this world, he does not let go and go somewhere else. He creates and he is constantly playing with everybody in this world. So, Bhasa, Kalam, Rantaram, Jagat Srishtyadibihi Kridantam. He plays with the people by creating the world and by by Jagat Srishti, Sthiti, Layam. He creates the world. He also ensures and protects the world. He also makes sure that the world is completely merged into him during Pralaya. Tatha Rantaram, Tatha Kridantam, Kriditaram, Shri Itam. And this is a very peculiar word for Vishnu, because he is with Shri. Ita ityukte in gatau dhatu is the word here, and kata pratyaya is included. So itam praptam, one who has attained Lakshmi. Lakshmi is supposed to be anapayini Lakshmi, one who does not even move away from Vishnu at all. So she is constantly present within him as a Shakti format. Right? She is in him as a Shakti, just as how Parvati is within Shiva as a Shakti, or Saraswati is there in Brahma as a Shakti. The same manner, Shriya Sarvada Itam Tam Devam, one who is ever present with Lakshmi as a Shakti. And Lakshmi in also is the qualities that are there in Bhagavan. He has so many vibhutis, we call it as vibhuti, which is Aishwaryadi Mahavibhutayah. So Aishwaryam, the word Bhagavan itself indicates 6 qualities that he has. Bhaga iti irana. There are 6 qualities. Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Vairagyasya, Sarvashakti, Sarvashaktiman, Sarvagnaha, ityadi. There are so many qualities that are present in him, which are called Kalyana Guna, which are the auspicious qualities that are present in him. Anything auspicious is Lakshmi. You say in Tamil also, Lakshmi Karamarka. Any language, I'm sure you have a translation for it in your language also. It's like seeing something which is full of prosperity, we say Lakshmi Karam. No? So Shriya Itam. Bhagavanapi tatha ananta kalyana gunaihi sahitaha saha aishwaryadi vibhutibihi alankritaha saha iti. Tadrisham tam devam aham vande. I bow to that Deva Vande Staumi. So this is the Anuloma Shlokasya Vivaranam. We will go to the Pratiloma Shloka in the next class. I just wanted to talk about the meter in this. So the meter here is Vidyunmala, Momo, Gogo, Vidyunmala. You have the 2 Ma Varga. So Ma is usually all are Guru letters, right? Yeah, if you have that sutram in your mind, ya mata raja bhanasa laga, mata ra. So ma is a sarva guru. So you have 2 ma gana and then 2 gurus followed by 2 gurus. So 2 maganas would be 3 plus 3, 6, and then you have go, which is guru and guru. So there are 2 more letters there, which totally makes it up as 8 letters. This vrittam is called Vidyunmala. So chaturbhischa yatihi iti sampradayah. Britaratnakara states that should be a yati in after 4 letters. Let's see here. Vandeham devam. Inge, it will be a problem here. No? So Vandeham de. Anga vandu there is a yati bhanga there actually, because this is a pratiloma yanaloma kavyam. You can't actually go into the yati properly. You can't say there is an yati bhanga here. It is only a sampradaya. It is just a tradition that people follow. It is not in the rule. The rule only says you should have 8 aksharas and there should be 2 maganas followed by 2 gurus. That's all. Which is sarva guru. All 8 letters are guru. Okay. So any questions? I think there are a couple of questions here. Ayodhya again. Okay. Ayodhya. Ayodhyayam bhavaha ayodhyaha. The vasam or the griham, that which is present in Ayodhya. Wait, let me see where that is. It is an tadhita pratyaya that is there. Ayodhya iti nagaram. Ayodhyayam bhavaha. Something that is present in Ayodhya. So it becomes an adjective to vasaha. So Ayodhya Vasaha is an adjective there. Let's say Ayodhya temple. We know that there is a temple that has been built there in Ayodhya, right? So Ayodhyayam Bhavam Ayodhyam Mandiram, Rama Mandiram. So you can say Ayodhyam Mandiram. Tatha. So there are some who have raised your hands. Vijalakshmi Modya. Yeah. You can unmute yourself and ask the question. Okay. Shankari Modya, I have a question.
Namaste Mahoday.
Namaste.
Itam Shri Itam ityasya arthaha kaha?
Itam praptam gatam. In gatau dhatu.
Priya
Yuktam iti.
Oh, astu Mahoday. Dhanyavadah. Bahu samyak. Dhanyavadah.
Okay. Any other questions? Vatsala Modya. Yeah. You can unmute yourself. Namaste.
Ayodhya Vase Dvayoho Saptami Vibhakti kila?
Ayodhya Vase Leelam Akorot iti.
Dhanyavad.
So yatra grihe Leelam Akarot. तत्र सर्वत्र युद्धं कृत्वा सीतामपि प्राप्य अनन्तरम् अयोध्याम् आगत्य अयोध्ये वासे लीलाम् अकरोत्. He was happily staying there.
धन्यवादः.
Okay. Geeta Mother, yeah, you can unmute yourself.
Can we go back to that shloka, please?
Which shloka?
No, the Vandeham. Yeah.
Vandeham, yes.
This is Vandeham Devam Tam Vandeham Devam Tam Shritam. If you go rhythmically like this,
yes.
This Vandeham itself is a Mangala shloka, isn't it, Mahoday?
Yes. Yes.
And so we can't classify it as there is no Mangala shloka or anything in this to start with.
No. This is a Mangala shloka. Absolutely. This is a Namaskriyaatmaka Mangala Shlokam and a Vastunirdeshatmaka Mangala Shlokam. Both are there here.
That's what I wanted to do, because we have started with Vandeham. So that's a Mangala Shabdam. So we take it as a Mangala Shlokam and we go on with all the other Mangala words in this thing. So this is the Mangala Shlokam, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I just wrote.
Okay. And there is a question of Yatim Katham Gyatum Shaknumaha. Yati. Yati is where you take a pause. Okay. So you can't have a pause in the middle. For example, in the first line itself, I said, right? So here, Vande Ham De. When you say Chaturbihi Yatihi, a word should be complete there. Either it should be a complete word or it should have a complete component. If it is within a samastapada, like say the second line, Ramo Rama, I can take a pause here because Rama is a complete word. Even though it is within a samastapada, there is still it is a component of a samastapadam and it makes a full meaning within it. It is still a pratipadikam. Even if it is just a pratipadikam, still I can take a pause there. Right? So Ramo Rama iti dhira pyago, 4 letters, I can take a pause there. So if a word is finished, then it is called a yati. Sometimes there is yati banga, like for example here Vande Hande, there is no meaning there, tatha nasti. Whereas in the reverse it will be easier. Leela Mara, again Ara, you can actually finish off there. Ayodhya Vase. In a way, there is a proper yati here. Rantaram ka. Ingiyum vandu tam shritam. Rantaram ka. Padila nikkardu. You know, kalam is the word, but you have to take a pause after 4 aksharas, mean you are actually splitting the word into 2 and saying ka and stopping. But that is a yati bhanga, which means it doesn't follow the yati. Yati na, it is a pause, a natural pause in the shloka rhythm. You have some sragdhara and all, right? So sragdhara, take parthaya pratibodhitam bhagavata narayanena swayam. So it's a long shloka there. How do you say it and still have breath? So these yatis are given as a very natural, beautiful time for us to take a pause and then move on to the next shloka. Parthaya pratibodhitam bhagavata Narayanena Swayam. You can take a pause there and then say the next half of the shloka. So that yati is given in the lakshana itself sometimes. So saptabihi yatihi iti sragdharayam vartate. So after every 7th letter you can take a pause in sragdhara. Tatha. Whereas smaller this thing won't have such yatis. And this lakshana also does not have a mention of the yati. It is only sampradaya that you take a yati after 4 letters. Clear? Okay. Any other questions? Namaste, Bhanumati Mohdaya.
Namaste, Mahodaya.
Yes.
Is there any other meaning apart from this for this word yati? Because we know yati Raj.
Munivar. Yeah. Yatiraya is actually, yati is Muni. One who yama dhatoho vartate tatra. So one who has the control of sense organs is a yati, or one who follows the yoga marga is yati.
Oh, okay.
This is, you have to, when you come to Alankara Shastra, you become an Alankarika and you forget that yati here. Yeah.
Dhanyawad.
Okay. That's it. Okay. We will just say the Mangala Shloka and finish. Ramaya Rama Bhadraya Ramachandraya Vedhase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Okay.